Is Donald Trump at war with Iran or at war with his own image? Can a president call Iran's leaders scum, quote unquote scum, in the morning and then worry about window blinds of his aircraft by evening? Is this national security or political theatre at 35,000 feet? And when the world's most protected man says he is Iran's #1 target, what is he really telling his country, America? Hello and welcome. You're watching No Cap with me, Megha Prasad. Donald Trump likes the language of strength. He likes big threats, big declarations, big insults, big aircrafts. But this week, amid fresh tension with Iran, the strongman script developed a strange new scene. Trump declared that the understanding with Iran was effectively over. He called Iran's leaders vicious, violent people, and then came the word that traveled faster than the missiles. The word was scum. That was Trump's description. No diplomatic language, no presidential restraint, pure Trump. Blunt, brutal, designed for television. But then, on the flight back from the NATO summit in Turkey, another image emerged. Reporters traveling with him said they had been asked to keep their window blinds closed during the flight from Turkey to UK. Trump was asked why. His answer suggested it was probably because of the sleaze bags over there, quote-unquote sleaze bags over there, an apparent reference to Iran. He also said, and I quote, "I have a threat all the time. I am #1 on their list," unquote. So here is the contradiction. The same man who speaks as if America can crush Iran at will also speaks as if Iran is watching his aircraft window by window. This is the Trump paradox. Maximum volume, maximum vulnerability. Now, to be clear, threats to an American president are not a joke. Presidential security is serious. Iran has a long history of hostility with Washington. The region is volatile, and after fresh US strikes on Iranian targets, the risk environment is real. But the issue here is not whether security agencies should be careful. Of course, they should be. The issue is Trump's performance. One moment he is the commander-in-chief promising punishment, the next he is the passenger-in-chief discussing threats, blinds and aircraft changes. The optics matters because Trump built his politics on fearlessness. He told America he was the man no enemy could intimidate. He turned insults into strategy. He turned aggression into branding. But now, Iran has managed to do something more subtle than fire back militarily. It has entered the psychology of American power. Suddenly, the conversation is not only about what America hit, it is also about what America fears. Look at the aircraft story. Trump had arrived in a newly retrofitted Boeing 747 gifted by Qatar. A showpiece, a flying symbol, a plane reportedly worth hundreds of millions of dollars. It was supposed to fit perfectly into the Trump's aesthetics. Bigger, shinier, louder. But on the return leg from Turkey, Trump flew part of the way in the older Air Force One aircraft instead. The White House said this was not because of Iran. Trump said it was for old time's sake. But the question did not stop. Reports noted that the newer Qatari gifted aircraft did not appear to have the same missile detection and countermeasure system visible on the older presidential aircraft. The plane swap came just as the US and Iran had resumed trading blows, so even if this was not panic, it looked like precaution. And in politics, perception often flies faster than the aircraft. A president can say he's relaxed, but if the new plane is sent ahead, the old plane carries him, the blinds are lowered, and Iran is discussed as a threat, the story writes itself. Trump wanted a symbol of American prestige. He ended up giving critics a symbol of American anxiety. This is why Trump sounds irritated, because Iran is not playing only on the battlefield. Iran is playing on the stage. It knows the value of images, funeral crowds, flags, mourning, missiles, statements, silence, retaliation, all choreographed for domestic strength and global attention. Trump understands spectacle better than most politicians, but this time, spectacle is not fully under his control. That is what seems to bother him. The American president wants to dominate the news cycle. Iran keeps entering it. The American president wants to project command. Iran keeps introducing uncertainty. The American president wants to look untouchable. Iran keeps reminding him that even the most protected office in the world can feel exposed. This is not Iran defeating America militarily. That would be an exaggeration. But Iran is challenging America psychologically. And for a president who lives on image that matters, there is also a deeper problem here. Trump's language may thrill his base, but it narrows the room for diplomacy. When a president calls another side scum, he is not just insulting leaders, he is shrinking the space for negotiation. He is making it harder to climb down, harder to compromise, harder to sell a deal later. And yet, even after declaring the understanding with Iran is over, Trump still appeared to leave the door open for talks. That is classic Trump. Break the table, then say the table is still available. Threaten escalation, then hint at negotiation. Call the other side names, then say maybe they can still talk. It is not strategy, it is improvisation with aircraft fuel. And when the issue is Iran, oil, missiles and the Strait of Hormuz, improvisation can become expensive very quickly. The world is watching something unusual. A superpower that can strike dozens of targets but still worries about one aircraft route. A president who calls Iran's leaders names but also says he is the #1 target. A White House that wants to project strength but must also explain why the president did not fly the aircraft he had proudly showcased. This is not how empires usually like to look. They like certainty, they like discipline, they like controlled messaging. This week looked different. It looked messy, it looked loud, it looked personal, and that may be the real story. Iran may not be stronger than America, but it may have understood Trump's weakness. Not military weakness, but the narrative weakness. He wants every conflict to look like a victory rally. Iran is making it look like a stress test. So the question is not whether Trump fears Iran. The question is whether he fears looking afraid. Because for Donald Trump, image is not decoration. Image is power. The plane matters, the words matter, the blinds matter, the bravado matters, and so does the hesitation. A president can call enemies scum. He can threaten to finish the job. He can say he's #1 on the list, but if the strongest man in the world has to explain why his aircraft changed, why the blinds came down, and why Iran is still dictating headlines, then Iran has already won one small battle. Not in the air, not at sea, but in the theater of power. And Donald Trump knows that theater better than anyone else. That is why this episode hurts. Because for once, he's not just writing the script, he's also trapped inside it. Thanks for watching.